She stood at the corner of the intersection, her tiny hands gripping a worn-out squeegee, her clothes too thin for the chilly breeze sweeping through the city. Her name was Alina, just 8 years old, but already burdened with worries no child should carry. The sun was dipping below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, but Alina wasn't admiring the sunset. She was praying, quietly and desperately, as she wiped the windshield of yet another car. She wasn't doing it for coins or candy. She was doing it for her mother, her only family, who lay in a hospital bed with machines keeping her alive. All she needed was $5 to get the medicine the doctors said could keep her mother stable until morning. She had cleaned windshields all day, but barely collected $2.67 in loose change and wrinkled bills. Every car that passed was a possibility. Every red light was a moment of hope. She kept praying, even when some drivers ignored her, others scolded her, and a few rolled up their windows to avoid eye contact. But fate had its own timing. Miles away, in a towering glass building with his name etched in gold, sat Ethan Royce, a man known for his business empire but forgotten by warmth and family. A millionaire CEO, owner of several successful companies, yet alone in a penthouse filled with silence. His wife had passed away years ago, and his only son was estranged after a bitter fallout. Ethan was a man surrounded by wealth but starved of love. That evening, he asked his driver to take the long route home. He didn't know why. Perhaps he just didn't want to go back to the cold emptiness of his apartment. Perhaps he was looking for something, he just didn't know what. The car slowed at a red light near the outskirts of the city. Ethan glanced out the window and saw her, Alina, her cheeks smudged with dirt, her hands trembling, yet still working with quiet determination. Her eyes met his for a brief second. They didn't ask for pity. They begged for hope. He lowered his window, and she hesitated before approaching. "Do you want your windshield cleaned, sir?" she asked politely. Ethan was stunned by the formality in her tone, far too mature for her age. "Why are you out here all alone?" he asked. Alina hesitated. "I'm trying to earn $5. My mom is sick. The hospital needs money for her medicine. I have $2.67 already. I just need a little more." She opened her palm, showing the coins and wrinkled notes as if proving her honesty. Something inside Ethan cracked, something that had been frozen for years. Without a word, he stepped out of the car and knelt beside her. "Take me to your mom," he said softly. Alina's eyes widened. "You want to help. I want to understand." She nodded and guided him through narrow alleys, past buildings that had seen better days, until they reached a small community hospital. The air inside smelled of antiseptic and despair. In a dimly lit room, on a creaky bed, lay her mother, pale, unconscious, and hooked to an IV. The nurse on duty recognized Alina. "She's been staying here all night. We told her she needed to get the medicine by tonight or we'd have to discharge her mom." Ethan looked around, at the cracked tiles, the rusted IV stands, the worn-out sheets, and something in him shifted. This wasn't just about medicine. This was about dignity, about survival. He pulled out his phone and made a few quick calls. By morning, everything had changed. Alina's mother was moved to a private hospital with full treatment underway, thanks to Ethan's medical team. He arranged for Alina to have proper clothes, food, and a warm place to sleep. But more than that, he stayed. He didn't just write a check and disappear. He visited every day, brought books for Alina, sat with her mother, and listened. People in the media caught wind of the story. "Millionaire CEO rescues child at stoplight," the headlines read. But Ethan refused interviews. He said, "This isn't charity. This is humanity." What he didn't expect was how much this little girl and her mother would change him. Ethan found himself laughing again, talking again, living again. Alina reminded him of his son, whom he hadn't spoken to in years. One night, while reading a bedtime story to her, she asked, "Do you have any kids, Mr. Ethan?" "I do. I did," he replied quietly. "What happened?" she asked. "I forgot to listen," he answered. The next day, he found his son's number and dialed it. When the voice answered, Ethan simply said, "I miss you." It was the first step toward healing a broken bond. Months passed, and Alina's mother fully recovered. With Ethan's help, she got a stable job, and Alina was enrolled in a good school. The once lonely CEO now spent weekends with them, eating home-cooked meals, helping with homework, and finding meaning in the smallest of moments. One afternoon, as they all sat in the park, Alina said, "You know, Mr. Ethan, I was praying that day. I prayed someone would give me $5 to save my mom." He smiled. And instead, you got a grumpy old man who didn't even need his windshield cleaned. She laughed. No, I got more than that. I got a family. And just like that, the story came full circle, not with a dramatic rescue, but with a quiet miracle. A child's faith, a mother's strength, and a man's rediscovery of love came together in one of life's unexpected intersections. This story isn't just about generosity. It's about how much we all need each other. About how the smallest act of kindness can ripple into a life-changing wave. Alina's prayer wasn't just answered, it was multiplied. Ethan didn't just save a mother. He saved himself too. So the next time you're stuck at a red light, and you see someone reaching out with hope in their eyes, don't just see the dirt or the desperation. Look deeper. There might be a story waiting to be written, a miracle waiting to unfold. Because sometimes, all it takes is $5, a prayer, and the courage to care. Hashtag emotional stories, hashtag touching stories, hashtag soul-stirring, hashtag miracle encounters, hashtag fictional story, hashtag inspirational short film, hashtag AI animated story, hashtag millionaire kindness, hashtag childhood hope, hashtag YouTube emotions.